Hello YouTube. Thought I'd do just a little quick video and give you all some information on something that I made and something else that I'm going to be working on. And the first thing has to do with the Hinderer knives, and I believe there's another company that makes these. I'm not as up on the newer guys as a lot of these folks are. Maybe Spyderco or someone like that. But on these knives right here, you'll notice it has a rather unique pin arrangement, and it has a slot on each side of that screw, and that, along with this straight slot, is how you adjust and your pivot and how you remove it. And they sell a rather expensive tool. It's got a lot of neat stuff that goes with it, and really well made, and I'm sure for a collector it's absolutely worth the money. But this morning I was about to throw something away, and there's nothing like making something out of nothing. Tim does that a lot of times, Tim Troyer. And so what it was this, one of my reciprocating saw blades. And I got to looking at it, and it just so happened that this knife happened to be laying in front of me at the time. And you'll notice that the rear end is no longer on it, and that is because I made this with it. Normally this would be the back end of the blade. That would be a full circle, and then there's a square part out here, and that's the tang that sticks up into the reciprocating saw. And I noticed that the hole in that was just about perfect to clear this pin area. So I thought, and I tested it with a file, and I learned that you can easily file that with no problem. And so those of you that, if you don't have a Dremel or anything else, you can do all this work with a file. And this is not fancy. It's not, I didn't take a huge amount of time with it. It was just a tool, and basically I just wanted to see if I could make it. And I may redo it at some time and make it, pretty and all that. But it was just something that I could throw together like a screwdriver. Had a piece of scrap Paduke from a knife that I handled, and I cut it down, and on the edges right here, it's hard to see, but there's a very slight chamfer on each side. It goes in just a little bit, so that when I put it in the slot and turn it, it's not going to mar the edge of the knife and kind of scrape it. The thickness of this is not absolutely perfect for this slot, but it is darn close. It is, close enough by any means, and it really locks in there and really turns it well. So I took a couple copper pins, and you can drill this blade easy enough, and just pinned it into place quickly. That was just something that happened to be laying on the bench. It could have just as easily been anything else. I whooped up a little JB weld and stuck in here just to help solidify it, and I've tried it out. It works great. So if you have one of these and you don't want to pay the price to get one of the really beautiful, well-made machine tools, just make yourself one out of an old reciprocating saw blade. If you don't have one, I could almost bet some of your friends do, or if you happen to go by a construction site, if you asked, I'll guarantee there's somebody that has got a blade they're fixing to throw away, and it just takes a second to make. The other thing I'm going to show you is this, and it's pretty familiar, I'm sure, to most people. This is the Spyderco Rock Lobster VG10, and when I saw this knife, I thought, I just immediately saw a completely different knife. And I asked among my friends if anyone had one of these, and I made it clear that I was going to totally change this knife. It's not going to look anything like this. And I said, if anybody's got one and they don't like it, or they don't mind it being changed a lot, you know, send it to me. I've really got this idea in my head, and I really want to do it. And so Mike was kind enough not to send me his, but to talk Tough Thumbs into sending me his to be worked on. So, you know, there's no pressure there, right? But we'll see how this changes. I lay things out with, I use just electrical tape, and wherever I want to change anything, I just cut out the tape, put it on there, and the tape blocks out the parts that I'm going to change or get rid of, and you get an idea what it looks like. And I think the next time you see this, certainly it's going to be a lot different, and I think you may like it. I know I will. If Jeff doesn't like it, I'll just buy it from him, because I know I'm going to like it. First impressions of this knife, one of the things that I heard Jeff say is it's too thin, and that may well be. But when I send this back to him, it's still going to have these scales on. I'm going to let him decide if he wants to replace these with thicker ones or not. But I don't believe it's the thinness that's the problem. I believe it's the way the handle is shaped. I love Spyderco. They make, you know, just tons of really great products. This, I just have to say, it's the way it is. For me anyway, it just wasn't comfortable at all. I don't like pocket clips. You'll notice that my Hinderer doesn't have one. I've already removed the one off of this. Don't like them. Never use them. And the one on this one just really fell in the wrong place in my hand. So that was one thing. But the other thing is the handle, the way it falls in your hand, the width. You know, just the whole thing just doesn't work for me. Now, there may be a lot of people that like this, and it may feel great for them. That's why they make, you know, thousands of different knife styles, because not everything works the same for everyone. But I'm really interested and want to send this back to Jeff with these scales still on it. But the knife, I say, overall is going to be radically different from what it looks like now. So we'll just see what he thinks, and I'm not going to do a video on it when it's finished. I'm going to let him, I don't know if he does unboxings or whatever, but he can open it up and look at it and do a video on it if he wants, or scream and yell and throw it in the trash, or hopefully if he doesn't like it, he'll just stand it back and I'll buy it. But I think he will. It's just not going to look like this. It's not going to be this knife any longer. So that'll be coming up, and I'm going to do another video here shortly. I'll put up probably right after this one, and that's on a project I just finished. So, well, let me go get that set up and get it filmed, and then we'll get it on the air. Take it easy, YouTube. Whoa, nearly knocked the camera over. Talk to you in a minute.